Senhoras e senhores, sejam muito bem-vindos a mais um episódio do TCHANKA Podcast. Nesse episódio 14, ao meu lado, Carlos Diamante, também conhecido como Lalau, eu, Fred Castro, e nesse episódio a gente está trazendo alguém mais do que especial, ninguém mais, ninguém menos que a lenda do vertical, Cesar Mora, australiano que foi campeão do Xgames, foi um dos precursores do 1080, que mandava backflip de 3 metros de altura para cima do Ralph, e tivemos um papo com ele maravilhoso. Assiste aí que vocês vão adorar. Novamente, galera, deixa seu like, deixa um comentário, se inscreve no canal. É muito importante para movimentar o algoritmo do YouTube e o YouTube mandar o podcast para mais pessoas. Beleza? Check it out, porque tá demais, mano.
Mais uma lenda do vert, né, velho? Caralho,
Nossa.
Cesar Mora, velho. Caralho.
Nem acredito que eu conversei com ele. Foi muito incrível. O cara é muito gente boa. Assiste aí, galera, porque o cara fala de tudo, como vencer o medo, como aprender a progredir mais rápido no esporte. Falou sobre ter se tornado um patinador profissional depois de ter sido jogador de futebol profissional, que eu acho que é coisa que muita gente não sabe. E assiste aí, galera, que tá demais. Deixa o like. First of all, sir, it's a huge honor to meet you. We're very thankful that you took some time to be here with us. And we want to know everything. We're huge fans of your skating, huge fans of your personality, and we want to know more about how you came to be Cesar Mora, the legend, one of the best, if not the best, vert skater in the world. My name's Fred, by the way.
Fred
and Carlos. Yeah.
Fred
But first of all,
Fred
I have
Castro,
to
yeah.
First of all, I have to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Pele was the best football player ever.
Pelé.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a whole other podcast.
I'm just joking, but yeah.
The whole other podcast. It's a different. It's very hard to compare different times.
Yeah.
The 60s, the 70s compared to the 80s and 90s compared to now. It's very different.
True.
You used to play football, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
And
was
how
one
was-
of my original questions. Like, how did you turn out to be a rollerblader? Were you a pro player?
Yeah, so I ended up playing for Australia under 19s, and we traveled to America, we traveled to England, and then I stayed in Spain, and I was trialing with Rayo Vallecano, is a second division team, and I think now they're in first division, but at the time it was second division. And you know, it didn't work out. I had to do the army in Spain, and I didn't want to do that. And I was there. My visa had extended, and so I just wanted to come home to Australia. I was only 19 years old, and I just wanted to come home. I kept playing soccer here, but then I just got into skating at the same time as soccer. I think it was around 93. And then it got to a point where I was hurting myself with soccer, because soccer is very physical.
Yeah.
It's very hard on the joints. It's a lot and I do a lot of running. I don't stay still on the field. I'm always dribbling. I'm always running. And I'm the smallest. So I'm always getting hit the most. But that's okay. I don't mind that. But skating was also hurting me because I was learning how to skate. And it was very brutal because I didn't know how to fall. I didn't know how to bail, how to slide safely. So I would commit 100% to every trick and just slam. You know, and so after almost a year of this and soccer at the same time, I had to make a decision because my body wasn't gonna. And mind you, I'm 23 years old now when I'm starting to skate. That's not a young age, you know?
No, yeah.
So I just chose to skate. And there was no competitions really. There was no money. There was no clear path for anyone. I just loved it. And
which year was that?
So I started riding around 93. So first 6 months was probably just street.
I see.
Street skating and then I discovered the ramp, and that was it. I just love the ramp. I did both for a while, but it just, I would go on street skates and I would be desiring to skate the vert ramp. You know, everyone's got their own, what they're suited to best. And to me, I just enjoyed riding the ramp. And even though it's a slower process to learn, takes a bit longer, and there's not ramps everywhere. Because street skating, you can learn every day on the corner, on the steps.
Yeah.
At the park, you can learn every day. But with vert, you have to actually have a ramp nearby and dedicate yourself and prepare to fall and to learn slowly. And
that's what I was going to say, because you start skating 93, but 95, you're already competing at Extreme Games. So
yeah,
during those 2 years, probably you skate almost every day, right?
So I'm what you call obsessive. If I like something, I do it 100%. And I try to do it, obviously, to compete with everybody else, and you want to be the best, you can.
Yeah.
But normally I compete against myself, and I always I set myself goals and I try to be the best person I can. I'm not happy with doing the same thing every day, not progressing. I always have to find what's new, what's possible, what's next.
I can absolutely relate to that. Absolutely.
Yeah, with everything
like
I do. Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm always very creative. I'm an artist at heart. So I'm always I'm not robotic, I'm very creative. So I'm trying to always think of new ways to do things, or to come in and out of tricks, or to change a trick. Because, you know, when I was skating street, I started doing rails. And this is early on when not many people were doing them. And I'll tell you, I've heard some street skaters on podcasts say how scared they are of vert. But I'm the same with rails. Like, I respect the guys that do those crazy rails and the switch ups they do, and like I don't want to do it. Like, it's too scary for me. I'd rather do vert, and that's more my style. And you know, so I just applied myself, and before I knew it, I was consumed and I was obsessed and I was thinking about it. And then they filmed me for The Bottom Line. Remember that video, The Bottom Line?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they filmed me for that. And then that video obviously went everywhere. And so they asked me Scott Crawford got injured just before the X Games. And they said, do you want to fill in for Scott Crawford? I said, for what? They said, for the X Games. I said, what's that? It was the first one, we didn't know. And they said, well, it's like the Olympics for extreme sports. I was like,
yeah,
oh, I don't know. I got no money. I don't know if I'm good enough. It just a lot of things. But my boss at the skate shop at Bondi Boards and Blades, he helped me with some money. And in 95, I went over, because when I saw the videos at Venice Beach of Chris Edwards, of Manuel Baliras and Tom Fry skating, that's what I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to go to California and skate in front of people and go on a tour and skate against the best. So
that time you never been to US yet for competitions?
Not for skating, no. I went for soccer previously, but no, for skating, no, this was my first overseas trip, which was 95.
So 95 Extreme Games of your first competition outside of Australia. I mean, USA, I mean. Wow.
Yeah.
So
did you
huge.
win that one?
Second place.
By half a point, Tom Fry beat me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I think we both fell, but his run was better. But it was funny because he deserved to win. His run was better, but the crowd didn't understand his technicality, and they liked my big flips and everything. So the crowd was like booing a little bit.
Oh, really? Didn't show up on TV? I didn't know about that.
They didn't show it. And me and Renee Holgreen went to the crowd, and we were like, you know, clap, it's okay, it's all good, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But it's interesting because this was so new that people didn't understand the technical side. They understood more the impressive, like the athletic, the flipping and all that.
Yeah.
You know? So after that, we had the first ASA after the X Games, maybe a week or two after. The first ASA ever, which was at Chicago, at the big trade show in Chicago. And it was so hot. It was one of the hottest summers in They call it the big heat or the big dry, I think. Many people died in Chicago.
Oh,
wow.
We had street skaters that were passing out because it was outside in the car park. We had a lot of street
heat
skaters.
stroke, right?
Sunstroke, yeah. They were like taken to hospital, and so on the vert we were doing 3 runs of 1 minute back in the day, and a lot of skaters couldn't even finish like the 3 runs. You know, it was so hot, but because I just came from soccer, I was super fit, and I could finish the 3 runs, and so the tour started there. Basically, for me, the Xgames, the ASA, and then I went to, I think it was Portland, and did the NIS, first NIS, and so I won the ASA, I won the NIS, and then we just went on tour. But it was me, Tim Ward, Manuel Salerno, Steve Cairo, Paul Molina, just a group of Australians, and we had no money.
So you were already pro at the time, but as soon as when you got at the Extreme Games 95, you had sponsors already, right? Roses.
Not paid.
Not paid.
So
okay.
I skated for Roses for free for a year. That year, because I just loved Roses, and I had at the time Razors was just starting in '95, and they approached me at the trade show, and I said, "Thank you very much for the offer, but no." K2 offered me, but I didn't like the skates. I thought they were more street. Rollerblade asked me to, because I was living at Venice for a little bit with Mark Shays, and Mark Shays was the organizer of the ASA, but he was also associated with Rollerblade, and he would ask me, you know, every couple of weeks, like, you know, they can pay you this much, you know, do you want to? But I never wanted to skate for Rollerblade. I just wanted to skate for Rosie's, and it paid off. So Rosie's helped me with accommodation and flights, but no money. But after that year, they started paying me.
You got to skate for K2, right? For a while.
Sorry?
I remember watching you skate on K2s. Did you get to skate them for a while?
Yeah. So Rosie's was up until not 98. I finished in 98, and then I started with K2 from 99 to 04, 05.
Oh, I see. I was going to ask, like, you say you play soccer, so do you think that gave you some advantage to other people because you already were fit and you learned so fast, like you say, like in a couple of years you were competing at the highest level? And other thing is, not only you, Tom Fry as well, Manuel Belides as well, everyone was really came out of from the beginning, they were really like high level. So why is that? Why Australian people were skating was so high level during that time, right from the beginning? There was any connection with quad skates before?
I think Manuel used to ride quad skates when he was a kid.
Okay.
Australia has great outdoors. We have beautiful weather. Now, like in Brazil, everybody's outside exercising. Everybody's at the beach. Everybody's doing something outside. They're not inside. So we had a lot of parks. We had a lot of vert ramps. We have vert ramps in the middle of a soccer field for no reason. You know? Left over from the 80s from skateboarding and roller skating, I guess. So we had places to skate. We had good weather to skate. And also, I guess they picked up on it early. I guess Tom Fry was one of the first, Scott Crawford, so we're learning from them. Then Manuel came, and then me and Salerno came up. So when you're learning from these guys, you have to get good. And so the next guy gets good, and everyone around you gets good, and everyone you skate with gets good. And the other thing is, we didn't skate for videos. We didn't skate for, we didn't have videos. We still had cameras with film. So we couldn't afford to like just take photos all day and take videos all day. So we would just skate every day because that's what we did. We'd skate mini, we'd skate street, we'd skate vert. We'd all skate around together. We'd go through the city. And I found when I went to America that a lot of people, once they became a little bit famous or a little bit in videos, they would only skate if there was a video, or they would only skate if they were going to be filmed or something.
True.
In Australia, there's a saying. It's called the tall poppy syndrome.
Oh.
Tall puppy?
Yeah, so a poppy, I think a poppy is a flower, is a flower. And what happens is they don't like when the flower becomes taller than the other flowers. Okay, so in Australia, they don't like it when you have a big head or you think you're amazing, or so everybody just skates. They don't allow you to be special. They don't allow you to think you're the best or anything. So everyone just skates, and the level, you know, when the level goes up on one person, the level goes up on everybody. Yep. And you could, and this was back then before we had, like, you know, obviously before social media and all that. So we would only hear, oh, this guy just did a trick in Melbourne. No way, can't be possible. Or Chris Edwards just did a trick, and you'd have to wait for like 6 months for a video to come out, or for a magazine or something, you know. So, but this is how we learn. And then, what was the first part of your question? Oh, with soccer, yeah. Soccer did help me a lot with skating because of the fitness. Also, I came from an athletic discipline side of sport. So I wasn't lazy. I never took drugs or drank alcohol or anything like that. I never do. So I was always fit and healthy. And how do you get better at something? By doing repetition, by skating hours and hours and hours. If you're not fit and healthy and all that, after 1 hour, you're finished, you're tired. So you don't learn as much as you can if you skate 4 hours. You know, you skate 4 hours a few days a week, you can learn a lot. And then there's also the issue of there's a barrier with everything, and it's a pain barrier. So people get to a certain point, a level, and then it's too hard, and they stop, or they stay stagnant. They don't progress. You know, I was willing to get hurt, to do whatever it took, to like slam whatever it took to get the trick. Even if I was injured for 5 weeks, as long as I had the trick, because once I'm finished being injured, I can still do the trick. There's a lot of people that were just too scared to go past that barrier or to progress. You know, I just get bored and I need to progress. I need to always learn.
Mentally, you're stronger than the others a little bit.
Yeah, I'm always mentally strong because I always skate or do anything, learn anything by myself. When I was learning to skate, I went to a private, like a secret ramp, like in the middle of nowhere, so no one could see me fail. You know, so I don't like when people see me fail. I'd rather learn in private and then come back with everything finished. You know, some people like to do it the other way around. That's just me. I'm very stubborn, and I never had a coach for soccer. My dad was my coach, but like a proper coach. I always learned things on my own. So the Australian skaters have a mentality that they're just battlers. You know what battler means? Like a hard worker.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not fancy, you know, so they like to just skate with their friends, skate all day, use their skates to go into the shops, to go into, you know what I mean? That they always have their skates on. And so I remember doing sessions at Bondi where I couldn't even I was so exhausted. I would just drink more, and then more people would come and you'd get, you know, adrenaline, and then you skate another hour, and you know, and it was beautiful. And sometimes not even doing tricks, maybe sometimes just airing, just doing airs, because it just feels so good just to do airs and have fun, you know.
Yeah, but about the Australian skaters, would you say that I lived in Australia for quite a while, and the thing is, we in Australia have that kind of culture of laid-back culture and relaxed culture. But I think, in my opinion, when Australian person likes something, they're very competitive with that specific thing. It's not like Americans where they like to win anything, right? It's just Australians just get whatever they like most, their passion, and that part of they become so competitive on that specific thing. But the rest of the things are very laid back, very easygoing, very relaxed.
Because I think they don't. That in America, they idolize. Like if someone's at the top, they idolize and they respect almost too much. In Australia, they respect, but they don't idolize. So they want to do what you do. They want to compete with you. They want to, you know, like they don't resign themselves to the fact that they're never going to be that good. They think they can be, and they want to be that good. But not in a bad way, but just in a competitive way. And a lot of the sessions we had were just, there was no cameras, there was no nothing. It was just pure skating for hours, you know, and everyone was just, sometimes you have competition with certain people. Sometimes you have people around you that are, like when I skate with Manuel, I skate with Neil Martin, I skate with, there's a few other guys. There's no bad competition. It's just helpful competition, if you know what I mean. We help each other, we encourage each other. There's certain skaters you skate with, and they're sneaky, and they're trying to pick what you're learning, and they copy, and you know what I mean. These guys I didn't like to skate with so much.
Yeah, me neither. I remember I would do the same. I would choose my crew very wisely, because these sneaky guys, turns out that you kind of lose your concentration, and you don't feel like, it's not that positive vibe. And then once you next thing you know, you're like, I don't know, I'm feeling off today, I don't want to skate. And sometimes it was because of these guys. Yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah, it's got to be fun at the end of the day. You got to enjoy it. I mean, people used to say to me, "Oh, you're obsessed," but that's not. They say it like in a bad way, but that's not a bad. Being obsessed with something is not bad. You can't be no top soccer player, no top musician, guitarist, anything can be great if they're not obsessed with it. You have to be obsessed with it. You know, 100%
you have to agree.
Yeah, you have to get as much out of it as you can. Like when I used to skate, I used to think like, how far can I go? People used to say, "Oh, you can't do a 900." I said, "Why?" Because Chris Edwards can't do a 900. I said, "So let's do a 900. Let's try it." That was my mentality, you know. Chris Edwards was always my man. He was always my favorite. You know, he was my role model. He was the person that I loved to. When I watched him skate, still, like when I watch his old videos, I want to skate. Manuel Baliris was like that. Javier Buchanda. There's a few guys that when you see them, like Matt Salerno's style, when you see them skate, it makes you want to skate. Chris always had the style. He just committed 100% to everything. Yeah. He had
you can see that through the videos, and I can imagine in person, but through the videos, you can see the commitment in every single trick. In person must be crazy.
Yeah, because he's shorter than me. I'm short. I'm 5'5", 5'5". He's short. I don't want to say how tall. When you see him skate in person, I was saying he was small, but he was very solid. He was very muscular. So when he skated, the ramp moved like he would just push like 100%, and he'd commit to all his tricks. And you got to remember, when Chris was skating before we were, I always wonder how he got so good, because there wasn't anyone around him that was that good. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got good because I was surrounded by killers.
Oh, you mean the reference, right? The reference.
Yeah. Chris, no offense to those skaters, but they were nowhere near his level, and he still kept, every video would be pushing new limits and going higher. And like when I first saw a 720 McTwist, I was like, that was a McTwist, and then he did a late 180. I couldn't understand it, you know. And so the next day I went and I did it at Bondi Beach. I went and that's how I learned the 720 McTwist. And then so from there, I'd always that was, remember Dare to Air? Not Dare to Air, sorry, Airborne, the movie Airborne.
Airborne, sure.
Yeah, there was that section under the bridge. And I took all the little kids from the skate shop, I paid for them, and we went to the movies. And we watched it in the movies. And when I was watching that in the movies, I couldn't believe what I just saw. He did a McTwist, but he came out backwards. And I was like, what the hell was that? And I didn't even concentrate on the rest of the movie, because I was thinking, I have to do that tomorrow. I have to go to the ramp and I have to learn that trick tomorrow. And this is how we learned. We learned watching Chris. And then with the Australians, what was good about the Australians is everyone had their own style.
Yeah.
Like if you show a silhouette or a shadow of a skater, you know that's Tim Ward, you know that's Matt Salerno, you know that's me. Where some cities I went to, everybody skated the same as the top guy. You know, everybody was like a clone of that person. But in Australia, everyone just had their own style. They had their own tricks. They had their own way of expressing themselves on the ramp or on the street or whatever. So
Very different than here in Japan. You know
it's
well,
more,
right?
it's more robotic. It's more training. You know,
How do you see that style versus technique? Like, how do you what's your opinion about that, about the S-Talks, for example? Everyone they say they're the best ever, but to be honest, I love seeing Takeshi skating, but sometimes I just want something more human, you know. Just like you can refer to, I don't know, how do you see it?
so this is a difficult argument because so I came from soccer, right? And I came from athletics. There's a finish line. There's a goal. There's an end result. It doesn't matter what style you have when you run, as long as you win.
True.
With soccer, it doesn't matter how ugly, like some countries, they don't play very nice soccer. But if they win,
European soccer, European countries, they have the most style, like a beautiful soccer.
Some of them, like Spain and Portugal and Italy, they play nice, and then you've got other countries that play more robotic. And you've got the Brazilians. The Brazilians have the jingo. They got their flair. They got the but so they have a result. In skating, there's no. It's subjective, right? So people like you because of your style, not because of your result. So when I came into skating, I didn't understand because I didn't come from skateboarding. I didn't come from anything. I came from sports. So I didn't understand that style was so important. And to me, I just wanted to do, what's the hardest trick? What's the next spin? What's the next, how do I do that? And then I would watch myself. I took a video camera on tour in 1996, everywhere. Colombia, Argentina, Peru, Thailand. And I was looking back at the videos and I was like, I don't like my style. It's very, I used to pump with my hands on my legs.
Yep.
All my spins were very open, and then so I started changing that, and I started making my spins more straight, and I started compacting everything and being aware. It's not just how big or how many spins you can do, but it's how nice you can make it look. So people used to argue with me about, oh, this guy is so stylish. But this guy's just doing a 360. And that's it. It's not hard to make a 360 look stylish. The trick is to make, okay, my philosophy is try to do the hardest tricks possible with the most style. So you got to try and meet in the middle. Okay? So if you're doing whatever, 1260, 1080, and you look like a crazy man spinning, no one's going to like that.
True.
So you have to try and do the 1080 or the 1260 with a bit of control and a bit of style. But in saying that, I heard a lot of people talk about Aragon and they didn't like him because his style was too perfect or he was too clean. Right?
Yeah, I heard that too, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's amazing to be able to have such control when you're doing such complicated tricks. But then you got other skaters. Yeah, but then you got other skaters like, say, Homie Bill, Billy O'Neill.
Billy? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
He looks dangerous. He goes on a rail and he looks like, is he in full control? He looks very raw, but he pulls off the trick, and it's amazing. That's two different things now. You got super smooth, and then you got a guy that's like a bit rough around the edges, but it just looks, it makes you go, oh shit, oh, is he gonna make it?
Yeah, Carlos from Brazil.
Well. Carlos from Brazil.
Carlos used to skate like that too.
Yeah, and that's
raw, rock and roll, powerful, crazy stunt man, and you're always like, "Oh my God, is he gonna die?"
As long as it's not too out of control or too ugly, then that I almost like that better because it's a little bit wild. It's a little bit, like oh, you can tell there's a danger in the trick.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, when it's too easy, when it's too smooth, it doesn't look like there's much danger in the trick, and then you don't give it as much, credit as it deserves.
Yeah. Especially if you're somebody that doesn't understand skating that much, it's gonna look easy. And then that's probably where all those arguments from skateboarders that said, "Oh, it's easier because it's attached to your feet." Because when you don't know how hard a trick actually is, it looks really easy. if the person is in full control, it's like, okay, he just went and jumped there. That's, don't have to ollie. So maybe that's where that argument comes from, because if somebody's super smooth, it doesn't look like there's effort in there. Like, oh, he's doing it so easily. It might be easy. It's probably easy to do that.
Yeah.
And then there's the argument or the fact that different people have different styles. Different people's body, some people have shorter legs with broad shoulders, some people have skinny legs with, bellies, or some people are coordinated and some people aren't. So everyone's a little bit different in how they move. Some people naturally move very nicely, very gracefully, and some people learn to move. So I, for example, I had to clean up. I had to be very honest, and I had to look at myself and say, I don't like what I'm seeing. So I had to clean it up. And so by 98, I started having my real style. People like Manuel, for example, automatic style. Matt Salerno changed his style a bit, but very early after the second, third year, he had a really nice, smooth style. It depends how long you're skating too. So I picked skating up at 23. So I had no style background. People were skating from when they were 10 years old. You have a skating style already. So there's a lot of things to consider. And I see this argument a lot in street with style. And I mean, you got this, what's his, George's Demetrius guy?
Yeah.
Demetrius George, yeah.
Mate, that guy's fucking crazy. Like I watch that guy all day, what he does, and what he's doing is super hard. Sometimes he locks it on perfect. Sometimes he looks like, oh shit, he's gonna die, but it's awesome.
Yeah, and I agree.
And then there's the other side, that when they go too far, when people try to fake the style too much, and it's not authentic, and people are trying to like, oh, I have to do my hands like this, or I have to. Like I'm concentrating too much on the style, not the trick.
Putting your hands like that on grinds, I've seen that quite often. It doesn't look natural. It just looks like the person already jumping like this,
Yeah. What? So Dominic Sagona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he used to skate like he had his own style, and he used to do things like that, and it looked amazing. But if I start trying to do that, I'm going to look like an idiot because it's not my style. You know what I mean? It's not my style. It looks good on him. And everyone has their own unique style. And that's what's good about skating. I don't like it when I really never liked it when people copy each other and everyone's got their signature trick. Don't copy the trick. Don't copy the exact way someone's doing something or the exact style. Just make up your own. Learn a trick and give it your own flavor and give it your own style, your own, and then you can stand out from the rest. Otherwise, you're just a clone of everybody else.
True. You say something about someone forcing the style. Do you think that happened too with the creativity? Someone's going too far with creativity and it just doesn't look nice anymore. And then you walk on that line where you know what I mean? Everyone look at what this guy's doing. What's wrong with him?
Yeah.
Is that cool now? What the hell is that?
Yeah.
I can't keep up with everything that's going on in street. And some things I see I like, and some I'm like, okay, I wouldn't do that, but good on you. I always encourage creativity. I always rather have more options. So when I learned to skate, I learned to air, I learned to do grabs. I was doing the stupidest grabs. I would go with my photographer and I say, let's go to the park and let's do a photo shoot. And I would do left hand grab, cross grab, straight leg, back leg, You throw out the bad, it's like experiment. It doesn't work, but this one's good. This one doesn't work, but this one's good. That's fine. That's okay. It's better to have more than only have one or two tricks.
True. I remember you used to do one that was kind of like this. You would grab the inside leg. Yeah.
That's not a hard air. It's not very hard, but it's when you're doing a show or something, it's very, people are like, whoa, but then there's a lot. So that was earlier on. But then I discovered that doing airs, when you actually face the ramp, when you face the sky or the back rail and your body is straight, that's a lot harder than when you actually turn and look down. So I started trying to incorporate all different airs where I'm up, like straight up. straight up, face that way, blind. You can't see the ramp. And this is some of the things that the judges never understood because they never skated like that. They never did that. They never understood that. When you take your eyes off the ramp and you don't turn your body, that's the degree of difficulty goes up straight away.
Yeah, and it's a lot dangerous too, a lot more dangerous. You used to do rocket airs like that, right? You would go just straight up, and then at the last minute you would turn. Yeah, that's much harder.
Yeah, and Rene used to do crazy like late, like he would turn late. And Rene is one of those guys that when you see in person, when I first saw him in person, I was like, so with Chris Edwards, I understood what he was doing, right? It was just impressive, but I understood it. With Rene, I didn't even understand what he was doing half the time. When I saw him at the Xgames in '95, I was like, what the hell was that? He would do some weird spin and come out of it forwards when there's no way he could have come out of it forwards. You know, and and people would say, oh, but his style, you know. But look at what he's doing. And then you have to look at, and then you have to look at what's good for the sport. Is the sport good if everybody just does 360s and soul grinds? Really beautiful, stylish, and no one progresses? No, someone's got to sacrifice. And someone's got to hurt themselves, and someone's got to fall, and someone's got to test the barriers and see what's possible. And it might look ugly at first, but if Arlo didn't do that first soul grind, or I didn't do that 1080, or someone else did, Chris Edwards didn't do everything he did, we wouldn't have progressed.
Yeah,
you know? That's true.
You wouldn't even have a sport.
No, you can't be the same always. Like, do you remember the motocross, Carey Hart?
Yeah.
So he was the first one. He was the first one to do a backflip, right? Yeah. He did it, and he broke 3 vertebrae in his back.
Oh my God.
Okay. How long after that, every motocross rider was doing backflips, but someone had to break the window first. Someone had to go through, break the window to see what's possible for everybody else to do it.
True. Yeah.
So true.
And I think this is more important than someone just doing, you know, perfect soul grind, so stylish for their whole life. You have to progress. You have to, you know, push limits. You have to push boundaries and limits. Otherwise, what's the point?
I agree. On the subject of the backflips, how did you learn to do such high backflips like you used to do? Like it was kind of like almost like a late backflip. You would go up the ramp and stay upside down for a while, and then on the way down, you return the rest of the flip and land it. It was great. I remember I used to see it and be like, oh my God, that's insane. It was like 3 meters high backflips over the ramp, over the coping. I think you were the one that did the biggest ones, right?
Yeah, I did. I got one even recorded at 11 foot. I won a couple of high air contests with backflips. And everyone used to say, oh wow, that's crazy. But when you think about it, when you do a backflip, when you do an air, the lowest point is your hand or your foot or something. When you do a backflip, your feet and your hands are above. You're upside down. So your back is the lowest point. So the trick I used to do, I didn't used to do when I did the big backflips, I didn't do them like a backflip. I did them like an air. So I would go up as high as I could. I would pump as high as I could and just go up like an air and then just flip it over.
That's crazy.
I remember you doing one in MTV Music Sports 96, I think, or 97. Yeah. It was a huge one. There was a sofa on the deck, and then the commentator was sitting on the sofa. And I remember you doing a huge backflip there. Was one of the biggest ones?
One of, yeah. One in Lausanne. Lausanne was massive as well. One in Australia, I did lots, obviously, because, you know, I got used to the ramps. But the thing I want to say with the backflip is it's one of the easiest tricks you can do on a vert ramp. Because really? your body is already there.
Half the way, right? Because of the vert.
All you have to do is flip your head. Once you flip your head, your feet just follow and you land perfect. It's more of a fear trick. Once you get over the fear, the backflip's not hard. And you don't even have to whip it hard. If you whip it too much, then you're going to hit your head.
Yeah, over rotate, right?
Yeah, so it took me like 6 months to get the courage to do it. Because there was one guy that could do it at Bondi, and but he couldn't do much else. But I wanted to it just looks so cool. And I could do backflips, like standing backflip. I could do backflips off the roof. I was always doing backflips like an idiot, you know? So I could do a backflip. It was just the fear in my head on this ramp to do it. So I started doing them low and like sideways, like a ninja, you know? And then I just slam. And then one day I was doing them straight, but with my head sideways. And then I just clicked and my head just went bang. And it was the easiest trick I ever did. I was like, why did I not do this earlier?
Once you understand the mechanics, it's just like, it's so easy, right?
It's so easy. It's just go up and then you pop your head and then your wheels just go. And so from there, I just got it method. I got it a bit higher. And then I realized, like, I can do this pretty high if I just do it like an air. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I just, you know, for a period there, I was known as the backflip guy, and everywhere I went, I had to do a backflip. And so I stopped doing them on purpose because I didn't want to be known for the backflips because I know they're easy. So I just wanted to progress my other parts of my skating to be known as for something else, not just backflips.
You mentioned about,
do like
sorry, go ahead.
360, what they're doing now, like a 450 back royale. You used to do like a 450 backside stall and 360 inside the ramp. I remember watching that. It was cool. While you were doing the grinds, you would do that. That was nice. It was different because not many people were doing that in the vert ramp.
Yeah, so I started doing obviously like the fakie 360, 360 in, forwards 360, which is a little bit scarier. So you're landing forwards on the.
Yeah.
And then I started learning 540 disaster, 360 and 180 and whatever. And then that was the same as the backflip. I was like, I think I can do this bigger. And then I just started doing 540 disasters overhead, like overhead as high as I could. And I think that's one of the ones that have smashed my hip.
Ouch.
Yeah, I had a couple of bad slams with that. But it was one of those.
Yeah, I was going to ask if is that a hard trick. Yeah, it looks so easy again, but it one of the hardest ones, right?
It looks easy.
540 disaster.
Yeah, when you see the ones that are landed, it looks easy. But when you see me when I fell on them, they look really bad.
No, I mean, you made it look easy, but I'm saying that's scary just to think about it. Yeah.
But even when I had them perfect, you just don't know. The coping might have too much wax. The ramp might be different, and you just fall on it. But that was a good trick because you could backside and grind it as well.
Yeah.
Not just stall it. You could grind it or do whatever. So I wasn't that technical on the grinds. Otherwise, I probably could have done, 450 top sole and a few other things. I could have taken it further.
Yeah. You mentioned about fear when you're learning backflip. We had an episode here when it was only me and Fred. We're talking about the fear in skating and how to deal with that, because some people just get too worry about getting hurt and put yourself full of pads and helmets and all of these things, but then end up injured anyway because they could not control the fear, could not work on how to deal with fear. How did you deal with that? How did you deal with fear when you're learning, especially half pipe? Because I used to skate half pipe too, man. And in the beginning, it's crazy because the height and it's just shaking. I remember standing up on the deck and just shaking. My legs were shaking until you get used to with the height and doing the tricks. It goes through a very some kind of experience of your life to learn how to skate on a half pipe. How was for you?
Yeah, we were also talking about these people that all they talk about in the session is about getting hurt. They'll be telling you stories about somebody that broke their leg, or that you're there trying to focus and trying to break your own fear, and this guy's talking about serious injuries, and it's generally the guy that is always padded, but they never progress, and they're always like, all they talk about is like, oh, I could get hurt. And how did you deal with that?
So, physically, mentally, everyone's different. Physically, everyone's different. They have their own style and the way they move. Mentally and emotionally, everyone's different as well. And some people, depends how they grew up. Some people grew up very soft. Some people don't like confrontation. Some people don't like physical to get hurt or to fall over. And other people love it. you know, and other people, they go towards that. They have less fear of risk, and they are attracted to sports like parkour or like BMXing or rollerblading or climbing. Or they're attracted to those kind of sport. So I guess I'm one of those people. I like always pushing limits and jumping off stuff and just being an idiot. And so to me, the most important thing wasn't the fear or it was to get that trick. What do I need to do to get that trick? I have to leave today with that trick in my pocket. What do I have to do? Do I have to fall a few times? Let's do it. So I got a good story. And there was a few people that were there that day when I learned 720s for the first time. And I think I was the first one in Australia to do them. And we're at Bondi Beach. And Bondi Beach, if you see the photos of the ramp, it's near the water. Yep. And in the afternoon, the wind would blow the water, kind of the salt onto the ramp, and it will get a little bit slippery. And so I was learning 720s, and I could spin them, but I couldn't put my feet down because I didn't have the good foundation. I didn't learn the basics. I just went straight from step 1 to step 8. Right. Mm-hmm. So to spin and then learn backwards, there's a certain steps you have to take. So I just jumped straight. I learned 540s, then I went straight to 720. And then, but I was not a natural spinner. Like a lot of people think that I just started day one. It took me a few months to even learn a 360. But once I learned the 360, it was fakie 540, forward 540. You know, it was quick after that. And so I was doing them and I was landing and just whipping out. And then there was more people starting to watch. And I was doing them and I was whipping out and I was slipping. My hip was part of my ass and my leg. It was all one. It was the colors were purple and yellow. It was beautiful.
A galaxy.
and my friend is like, my photographer friend who was also a skater, he's like, just come back tomorrow and do it. I said, I can't come back tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to move my leg tomorrow. I have to get it today. And so I kept going. It was almost an hour and a half of just 720s, slam, 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 slam. So I landed one eventually and then rolled backwards. And when I rolled backwards up the other side, I fell. I was like, so frustrated. And everyone started cheering because there were people there that didn't know me at all, but they wouldn't move until I landed this trick. And so I landed the trick, then I landed it again. I knew I had it. That's it. I got 720s, couldn't believe it. I went to my car, I drove home, I could barely walk up the stairs. And I couldn't skate for, I think, 4 or 5 weeks after that.
Wow.
I couldn't skate.
A mission accomplished.
The trick is in the pocket, right?
Yeah.
First day I came back, 720, you know? And that's how I learned a lot of tricks. Just, I was willing to go through the pain or whatever. Like some people would take less to learn and they wouldn't fall as much as me. So Blake Dennis, Salerno, they were much smoother. So they would learn tricks maybe and they wouldn't fall as much as me. You know what I mean? But I didn't come from skating, so I had to learn the hard way.
You call these people naturals, right? You always refer to people that are natural. How do you explain a natural skater? What do they have?
So just the way they move, a feel for how a distance management. So for example, Blake Dennis, I just pick him because he was a good friend of mine and I skated with him a lot. And he could skate pretty good vert too. He would hardly fall because he would calculate it and he was soft with his touch and his body, he just flowed nicely. When I was doing rails, I was just running and jumping and boom and smash. I didn't have a natural feel for it, but with a ball, I'm very natural. But a lot of Australians, they're not very natural. They look like they got like metal toe boots. You know, they don't have good touch with the ball. They don't move like soccer players. You know, so when I say natural, people like Salerno is very natural. It's where you can pick up stuff very quickly. Maybe you can turn both ways very easily. You know, you're comfortable on your skates. I had to learn how to be like that. These guys, a lot of these guys just became that way naturally, like easy.
So the learning process is much smaller, like it's shorter. I mean,
Yeah, it's
these
shorter.
guys.
If you get people like that are natural like that, and also have that willingness to break through the barrier and get hurt, then they always become the better skaters, because they have the lack of fear, they have the courage, but they also have the skill and the ability.
Absolutely agree. I would say Brian Aragon, Chris Haffey, they're these type of skaters. Like they're super smooth and technical, but they also have the I'll break through the fear factor, and that hence they become the best skaters in the world. Like they do crazy, immensely dangerous stuff, and it's always perfect, and the technique is right there. You can see it. Yeah.
I mean, we always talk about Dustin Latimer, right? That beautiful
Wow.
style. He skated fast, but he would slam, you know, he would eat it hard, but he'd get up and he'd keep going and skate another day. And if you can get past that, then you'll progress and you'll get better and better. You know, there's some people that can't. There was a lot of good skaters on vert that just they hit their limit, and they just couldn't air higher. They couldn't spin that extra more. They just didn't want it. They didn't want to do it. They were too fearful. And you know, I understand it, you know, but there's levels to everything.
So
That's
true.
true, yeah. The Yasutokus are not naturals, but they are very disciplined, and they learn and they train since they were very young, at age of 6 years old, I think they've been training.
That's what I was going to say. They grew up at the skate park. Like they lived at the skate park since they were young. And the father used to roller skate. That's how he met the mother. And that's why they called Eito, because Eito is the figure 8.
Yeah.
When you do roller skating. So they called Eito. They used to live in you know, the double-decker bus?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like in London? The 2-story buses in London?
Yeah, sure.
They lived in that at the skate park.
Wow.
Really?
That's crazy. And I didn't know Eito meant 8. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like the figure 8 when you skate.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
But very, like, I can honestly tell you, some of the nicest people I've ever met. So beautiful. Eito is like a wonderful, warm. He's amazing. Takeshi is more like the young punk kind of.
Yeah.
You know? But also very nice. But it was hard for us because he didn't want to learn English, so it was hard. We didn't communicate much. But Eito wanted to learn, and he wasn't scared to make mistakes. And we would laugh at him and help him correct his English, and he would laugh at us. And you know,
which is the most important thing to learn another language, not be worried of committing mistakes.
Yeah. But you also have to be surrounded by people you trust, because if you have people that are just laughing at you all the time,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's no good. You know, Eito knew that we meant it from a good place, and sometimes he'd say something really funny, and even he would laugh because he knew it was so bad. The father and the mother, when they flew us to Japan to help with the kids there, they treated us so well. They're so nice. I have nothing bad to say about him. I skated against Takeshi when he was 8 years old.
Wow.
At the NIS. The NIS finals at Venice in '95. Because we used to do the head-to-head. You remember that? It was like top 16, you go head-to-head, then you go to the next round, you go head-to-head. So I had to go head-to-head with Takeshi with his big glasses, and he was this small. And so I just did a couple of flips and I didn't want to kill him, you know?
Oh, yeah. You could see that Takeshi was going to become who he is right now, right? Because you know the story of the discipline, of the training, the daily training. Do you expect that? I mean,
no, you don't know. You don't know, because there are other people that have had the same, but they just didn't make it. I thought Eito was going to get similar to where he was, but then even he went further than I thought he was going to go. He got better than what I thought he was going to go, you know. But you're right, they're very disciplined. The father was always very strict on training. In skating is a bad word.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you know, some people, that's how they approach it, you know. And I approach skating with a bit of a training mentality as well sometimes, but
it's a cultural thing. If you
It's
go
a
to the park here, you see father and kid, one father and one son training soccer, and you see many of them. And I said, why they don't get together and do like a 5-on-5? You know what I mean? But they were just training separately since they are really young. It's very common to see that.
This brings up a good point I want to talk about, because I keep hearing competition is bad, and this is bad, and skating rails only is bad, and there are so many opportunities in skating. If you want to, what's it called when they do the slides?
Assess slides?
Assess slide when it's on the floor?
Yeah, all these guys that are doing like cross-legged slides and all that. Like they do competition in Europe, slalom or whatever.
Oh, yeah. There's a name in Portuguese, but I don't think it's the same name that goes around.
Okay, so that's one part of skating.
I think we can call it sliding.
Yeah, so that's one part of skating. You know, vert is another part, street is another part, bowl, park, rails, competition at the local park for fun. These are all options. You don't have to do everything. If you don't want to compete, then don't compete.
Then just don't, right?
Go to the park, session every day with your friends, have fun. If you want to compete, there should be an option for you to test yourself, to compete. And competition always breeds excellence. It makes skating better. Like there are things that we saw in competition, street and vert, that would never have been done unless it was a competition.
Competition push the limits, right? Push the limits because people have to do something to be better.
When we have all the cars on the road, they get tested with Formula One. Like Formula One pushes the limits on what engines, what petrol, aerodynamics, whatever. And then we apply that to the normal people, to the normal car.
True.
Right? So in skating, you got the people who want to push the limits, whether it's in video. That's another thing. If you don't want to do competitions, you can do videos. And that's perfectly fine. But don't complain when someone is making a living from skating in videos, or when someone is making a living skating street or vert or competition and you don't want to do it. You can't complain. You can't have everything. No sponsor is going to pay you to sit at your local skate park doing nothing all day just because you don't want to compete. No one's going to put money towards you. And if that's what you want, then that's fine. But don't complain about people that are making money. What's the best thing in the world? To me, it's traveling the world, we talked about a guitarist before. I can't think of anything better than being one of the best guitarists in the world, traveling the world and doing shows and getting paid for your craft. I think that's beautiful. Surfers go around the world, they get paid to do what they love to do. What's wrong with skating around the world, doing shows or doing competitions or whatever and getting paid for it? Being able to buy a house because you skated from your own blood, bones, and energy. You skated, you made this money, you killed yourself. You're the one that broke your bones and hit your head. Now you can afford to buy a house, maybe afford for your children to have a good school or whatever. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. It's beautiful. It's the best thing in the world, like you said.
I don't understand. I mean, I keep hearing these things, and it's like maybe people are resentful of in the 90s, people made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because of
I was going to say about the 90s. Yeah, the 90s had that mentality of, oh, you're a sellout. You're not supposed to be doing that. You know, the culture is not towards this.
But the same guys in 1 second would jump to get one of those contracts.
True.
Same guys were killing themselves. You put money up, even now, you put money up at one of these street contests, they're killing themselves to win that money.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because they need it.
Yeah.
They don't have medical. Some of them, I don't know if they have jobs or not. They need it.
True.
So wouldn't you like to just be able to do that every week at a different city and get paid 100, 150 grand a year?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
It's amazing. Now, it's an option. But if you don't want to do that, or if you're not good enough for that, you can do videos. The problem in the 90s, like everyone was like, oh, X Games sucks or whatever. But what X Games did was put skating, whether people want to hear this or not, they put skating on the map for the whole world. I went to a village in Peru that had 3 channels on the TV. One was ESPN, 2 was soccer. They knew skating from ESPN, right? And if you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it. There's music I don't like, I don't listen to it. It's very simple.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But there should be that option. There should be that professional option. There should be that next level. There should be that maybe the underground level. There should be that amateur level. There's got to be that for everything. Can you imagine people complaining about Neymar making a lot of money?
Yeah,
They do. That's the worst thing they do in Brazil. A lot of people do.
But if they had the opportunity and they had his skill, would they say, no, I don't want the money?
Absolutely not. Of course not.
Of course not. You know, people, and especially in this day and age, everyone's very judgmental. And if you don't, I don't want to get into what's going on in society these days or anything. All I want to say is competitions are not bad. No. If you don't want to do them, don't do them. But they've helped a lot of people make a living. They've helped a lot of people travel the world. Do you know Neil Martin? Neil Martin,
Neil Martin, yeah. Still skating, still skating.
He learned English. How did he learn English? By being a rollerblader.
Me?
We too, yeah.
That's exactly my story. That's how I speak English.
That's beautiful, you know. Like and I've met so many people skating that I would never meet, or I would never hang out with naturally in my earlier days. But through skating, we have something different. And I know people for 20, 30 years through soccer that I can't really stay at their house. But I can pick up the phone right now. I don't know, 50 people all around the world that would let me stay at their house tomorrow.
Brazil,
I was talking, yeah.
Skating. I think that's beautiful. You've probably got 100 cousins down here. There's so many Brazilians.
Not that many, but a few though.
There's so many
here. In Australia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. My cousin told me that. He works with a couple of Brazilians there.
I went there first time in 2001, 2002. There was not much Brazilians, but soon all of us start going to Australia. I don't know why.
It's funny, eh? Brazilians are like rats, right? If you say one person goes there, then everyone goes there.
Yeah.
Do you know why it is?
We're like roaches.
We like to
We're like
recommend
cockroaches. We're everywhere.
we like to recommend things to other people, right? When we do something that we like, we just say, hey, man, you got to go to this place, you got to eat this food, you got to talk to these people. And then we go and take these recommendations and we do it. And that's what.
As soon as they said, oh, there's sun, beaches and surf, all the Brazilians came over.
Yeah.
But also, you know what we have a lot of when they came over? Those is it churrascaria? All you can eat. The Brazilian.
Yeah.
The rodizio.
So I knew bodybuilders that wouldn't eat all day, and then they would go there.
Because
$40, and they would just eat meat all night.
It's 2 hours.
Buffet,
I can eat as much as you want.
Yeah,
it's a lot of food. I cannot eat that much anymore. After living in Japan for so long, my stomach became this small. You know. There is no such thing as a big portion here. You don't choose the size of food you eat. It's just one size. It's
even in McDonald's. Even in McDonald's,
McDonald's there is, man. But if you ask for a large size of McDonald's, probably will be like a small size or extra small size in US. No, I'm not joking.
Yeah. US is huge.
Everything's so big, like a bag of Cheetos or something like that, a bag of Ruffles.
Or
you go to the supermarket, everything's large, extra large, double X large. It's crazy.
And free refills all day.
Yeah. Well, no wonder why they have the most cases of obesity around the world. Like a lot of people don't eat healthy at all, and they don't take care of their bodies. They only eat garbage food. And
everything's drive through. They try to make it as easy and quick as possible.
Yeah. So it's true.
It's funny because most poor countries, people that eat bad food they're skinny, they're malnutrition. But the people that eat bad food in America, they're all fat because there's so much. There's too much.
I learned how to eat again here in Japan. It was hard in the beginning, but now I'm used to it. Just eat on the right time and the right amount every day. They take it seriously. They divide their daily. They create like a routine of morning, afternoon, and night, and what divides this is when you eat, right? So, and they don't change that. That does not change. The time doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter where you are. You eat in the right side time, and then you start doing the afternoon thing, I would say. And then you eat for dinner, and then you start doing whatever dinner, after dinner things you're gonna do for the whole life. It doesn't change. And then it becomes common for you to eat on the right time, and you get much better healthy. I became much more way better. Like I feel much better after I start eating at the same time and the right amount every day.
Yeah, but that's also if you have a good work routine as well. If you have a work routine that's, you know, all over the place, sometimes it's hard to.
It is. But
eat
that's the
perfect.
thing though. That's the thing. They don't let that happen here at all. Doesn't matter what kind of job. It's crazy.
So
They
they
stop.
prioritize their
Yeah,
food. Yeah,
exactly. They do not change that at all. That's like a
it's a sacred time, right?
it's a religious, yeah. Stop.
I love the Japanese culture. I love a lot of the things they do. Their mentality towards manufacturing things, and everything's like the long way. Like to make a knife, it's like 9 months to make a perfect knife, and you know, all the workmanship. Even with their watches, the workmanship is like next level. It's beautiful, and it goes back generations in history.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much history.
It's everywhere, especially in areas where there's a lot of craft. I work as an electrician here, and we do things that they used to do like 50 years ago, but they do it the same way they do, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and
Which is
it's
funny
just
because they've got some of the most advanced electronics in the world.
yeah, it's crazy, right? It's but they don't use technology the way we do, man. They don't apply technology in the things that we normally apply. We apply in our daily lives. They don't. They apply technology in something that brings you pleasure, like a hobby or something like that. But the things they need, the daily stuff, they don't do it.
Like a skill.
Yeah.
They like things that involve like a skill.
Yeah. So they don't, yeah. The Japanese people, they're unique. They don't look like same race as us. Very different, yeah, very different. They all come from education. Sorry?
Just the fax story. There you have to fax. Up to this day, if you're signing a document, they'll use fax machines till this day.
Yeah.
Still? Yeah.
When I
Tell
arrived
them
in
about that.
Japan, when I arrived in Japan, I was looking for a job, and someone told me, you gotta fax me your resume. I was like, what? Yeah, you have to write by hand your resume and fax me. It was 2010 or 11.
What the hell? Like,
I was like, I literally say, like, I never used a fax machine before, because fax machines died in Brazil before I became like a teenager.
So did you know Japanese before you went there?
A little bit, because my ex-wife is Japanese, so yeah, I could understand a lot of Japanese.
I can't imagine going to another country and finding work in a different language. It must be so hard.
Well, it was the same for me going to Australia. You have to find out to learn English and learn how to get taxation. Go to taxation office and get the tax file number to find a job. So you go step by step, and you go learning from that. It is hard, but it's good to put you outside of your comfort zone. So you learn a lot of things, And once you get the rhythm of this, you can go to other countries easier. Because, for example, when I arrived, in Japan, I already knew everything that I need to do based in my experience in Australia, the basic things, so what I have to learn. So what I have to do. So I have to do this and that. I have to go to this place to get these and these documents. So I already knew. So, and also I didn't commit the same mistakes that I commit in Australia, because I already knew what was right, what was wrong, what I have to do. So it was easier as well. It was, good experience though. Cool. Very good.
What were we talking about? What did we finish on before?
I was going to say about the image of the skater. The Coping podcast, the Coping Box podcast, which is a very good podcast as well. I don't know, I'm ready for them to come up with a new episode. But you say that whatever we have seen of you, of your skating, it was just about 5 or 1% of all the skating you have done in your whole life.
Yeah.
Right? So you had no control of your image back then. Very different than nowadays. That nowadays you film, you edit, and you export to the internet the way you want it. So nowadays people have full control of your image on the internet. Back then, There was no such thing as that. How
No.
different do you see it nowadays and back then? How do
Oh,
you see
it's-
that? How it influences the skating nowadays?
I think it gets it's good and bad. I think it gets now. Everyone has a phone. Everyone has a camera. I can do an edit. Like right now, I could leave you right now, go on the little rail, and in 10 minutes, the whole world can see my new trick. This wasn't possible before. We would have to wait for months for Daily Bread to bring out who was the latest skater, the latest photo of the latest rail, or we'd have to wait for Video Groove or T-Bone to bring out the latest video, and it would take 6 months or more sometimes. And we didn't have, it wasn't easy. Like luckily my friend was a professional photographer, so he was learning to skate. I said, why don't you, he was a very good photographer, but he never took skating shots. I said, why don't you take skating shots of me and we work together? And, and through the years, he became one of the best skating photographers because he learned the action, the moment, when you have to take the photo, the grabs on street as well, so, but most people didn't have that. Most people, like I had a camera and it was a roll of film. And if you take a roll of film, 20 photos or whatever it was, maybe 3 of them are good.
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
costs you $20 to develop, and it's a whole thing, So, and with a video camera, you have to like take your video camera around with spare battery packs and chargers, and it was a pain in the ass. So it wasn't easy to just, I'm just going to go skate, I'm going to film everything, and I'm going to put it. And then if you had to put a video up once YouTube started or whatever, it took so long to edit and render a video.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, it wasn't like now, it wasn't worth it. So this is what I was saying before. We didn't worry about videos and TV, and we just skated. And we weren't concerned with, did you get that? Did you film that? Is this going to be on the next?
It was
version?
natural. Everything was natural.
We just went out there for the reason to skate, to learn this and to push each other and to get better. So exposure is better now, obviously, because you can see it quickly. But back then, I think it was more pure because we were just doing what was natural, organic, one step to the next, learning off him, watching him, listening to what he did, and then pushing ourselves. And then it was funny when we get together, different states maybe, or when we went overseas, we hadn't seen each other. Everyone had new tricks and everyone had something different, and it was really cool.
Yeah, there is this part too when you don't see someone for quite a while back in the day, and then when you see him again after 6 months, you're like, and did you learn these? You learned that? It's pretty. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then it was funny because people would lie and say, they'll call you on the phone, or I learned this, or I did this, or whatever. But when you when you're skating, you can't hide.
Yeah,
you can either do it or you can't. Especially on a ramp or on a rail. If you can't do the trick, it's very obvious. So
in one way, so you think it accelerate the evolution of skating, the nowadays exposure.
Yeah,
that's a good part, you say.
So everything, because everything has trends, right? So back then it would take longer to pick up a trend. So if someone was doing, let's say, late spins or alley-oop soul, the first time someone did alley-oop soul, that became a trend. So everyone started doing alley-oop soul, half cab alley-oop soul, whatever. Took us a while to pick up on it because we didn't see it, we heard about it or whatever. But now if someone does a trick and it becomes trendy to maybe roll on your 2 front wheels to do a slow, if that becomes a trend, it picks up quickly because everyone can see it on their phones, on their Instagram, on their YouTube quickly. You can stop, you can pause it, you can look at it, you can learn from it, and then the next day or the next week, there's 100 people doing it online, and then, okay, we've done that, let's move on to what's next. So as far as progressing the sport, if you do something now, it's quicker.
Much quicker, right? That's the good part. What would be the bad part, if you have any?
Just a little social media.
Okay.
the little groups, the little cliques, if you don't do what they like, then they cancel you, and you know what I mean? There's too much.
I see, yeah.
This is a big problem that happened in skating. Why skating, I don't want to say died, why skating went down in the first place was because we started to become segregated. We started to become these skaters here versus these skaters here, and we don't like to do that kind of skating. We're not big enough as a whole to survive healthily. It's hard. We separate, we got no chance.
Yeah.
And if that happens now again, with little groups not accepting this guy or these skaters, or it's not good. I don't like that. Everyone should just skate. Okay, my motto is live and let live. That's it. Do what you do and let others do what they want to do. If you don't like it, you don't have to look at it. You don't have to. So just do what you do. Do what makes you happy. It's like music. I don't like country music. I don't listen to it, but I don't hate on it. And I don't go online and say, oh, country music should be banned. And I just let it be. And I just listen to what I enjoy. So if you don't like, what's this guy, Eugene Ennin?
Yep.
Yeah, so sick.
Yeah, so sick. I had so many people tell me I don't like too many tic-tac, too many this. I get, okay, but that's freaking amazing. It's hard what he's doing. It's so technical. So his problem is he doesn't need to do more. He just needs to do less. Maybe instead of 10 switch ups, he just needs to do 7 and make him look better. I don't know. But to me, that's amazing. And let him do what he wants to do. Yeah, no one's asking you to do anything. Just you keep skating how you want to skate and let him skate. But there was a lot of criticism towards that, and I couldn't understand it. When I first got onto Instagram, because I was off social media for many years, he was one of the first ones I saw, and I was just like, wow, what's going on? Sure, I prefer maybe someone who does things a bit smoother or a different style of skating, but I still appreciate that. That's amazing. I think that's amazing.
Yeah,
I think most people are just jealous.
Yeah,
I think they're just envious.
That,
most of them. Yeah, because he can do it all. He can do the 10 switch ups on the rail, but he can also go big. He can also incorporate elements of parkour into skating. He can do skate parks. He can do flip tricks.
He's trying to. Okay, you might not like all of it, but he's trying to be creative. He's trying to do something different. He's trying to push limits.
That's what we talked before, right? He's sacrificing that. You say one has to sacrifice to develop the progression of sport.
And 10 of those things that he's done new, maybe people don't like 8 of them, but they'll take 2 of those. And then those 2 things will become the next big thing. And that's how. So when people always ask me, like, what did you contributed so much to skating. I think I just did I helped with my part, and this person helped with his part, and Chris Edwards helped with this much, and by everybody chipping in and putting in a bit of their own flavor, that pushed the sport up. There's not one person that did everything.
That's true, yeah.
So you need a little bit of different flavor. Robbie Pitts?
Yep. Yeah. I met him once, yeah.
He's a character.
Yeah.
And he's a very good skater. If you watch skating when he used to do rails and all that when he was young, he was a sick skater. And
I met him 20 years ago. He was just a normal dude, large pants and doing the normal tricks. Yeah. Such a sweet guy, yeah.
Yeah, such a sweet guy. And this is his own style. You don't have to like it.
Yeah.
You don't have to click on it. Just look at the next guy, like flick past the next. Don't criticize it. Just let it be. That's what makes him happy. That's what makes him happy. He loves doing it. It's fun. It's entertaining. It brings a bit of color to the sport. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, and I bet it brings a lot of good people or a lot of new people into skating, because some people might watch him and be like, "Oh, that's so cool. That's so 70s," and people who are not already into skating might look at him and be more attracted than the guy that does big gaps and big spins, and because they just look at him and he's having a blast and he's just having fun. And then that might attract more people than just big, dangerous stunts too. So there's this other side to skating that maybe people that don't like watching him, they don't understand that it's good for the sport. I'm glad he exists. I'm glad that people like him or Eugen or all the people who, even the mushroom blading guys that me and Carlos, we used to kind of make fun of them. But then again, you realize that it's contributing to the whole, and it's nice that there is that.
Yeah, this is what I was saying before. You've got different sections. So mushroom blading, you don't have to do it, but it's not easy what they do. You have to appreciate what they do.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it or anything. Just let it be. Don't criticize it. Just let it be. Just do what makes you happy. You know, like
yeah.
I heard something once. Back in the day, one of our friends used to film quite a lot, and he used to work for ESPN Brazil, and he used to go to countrysides of Brazil to film skaters. And he went to a very small city in our state, and I know he was filming the guys doing a rail. This old man just passing by, just say, "Now it's so good. The most important is to make the culture happen." So that stuck with me, like to make the culture happen, whatever it is, just make it happen. You know, whatever comes, whatever it needs to take, whatever it takes. I mean, so for me, that stuck for me from that moment until now. I always think like that. It's just, there is no way to control skating to say skating should look like that. You just have to let it happen. It's an organic thing. A lot of people come and contribute to this organic thing. They grow, and you don't know how to you don't know what's gonna be.
Yeah, back in the day, we used to make the mistake with the recreational skaters, and we used to make fun of them because, you know, they wear lycra or they're running around the beach or whatever. But they're the ones that were paying for us to have aggressive skates.
True.
Yeah.
Once
So
they
true.
started skating around the beaches, there was no money in the companies to make aggressive skates, to make stunt skates or whatever you want to call them. So every part of the industry is important. You can't we can't separate. We have to be one big, and we're not always going to agree with everything, and there's always going to be different opinions. And if we could try and keep politics and all that bullshit out of skating, that would be a lot better for everyone. So everyone can just get along and just skate. Because I remember back in the day, I didn't give a shit if you were transsexual, and we had some here. I didn't give a shit if you were black, Chinese, South African, South American, rich, poor, white. It didn't matter. You came to skate, let's skate.
Yeah, all that mattered was the tricks and nothing else. We never thought about that. We were the most inclusive community ever. We were the most inclusive. We still are, but we never talked about it because it didn't matter. Yeah,
it literally didn't matter. Like when Nicky Adams won the Xgames on street, no one said, "Oh my God, he's black," or no one said, "Oh my God, I can't believe, you know, he's good for a black." No, he was just an amazing skater, and he won because he deserved to win, and that was it. End of the story. And we didn't care when Aito and Takeshi started dominating after 99, 2000 because they're Asian. It didn't. It's not what we think about. It's not what we think about. Everyone, once you put your skates on, the good thing about skating is it's an equalizer. So if you know that, you know, in soccer, with everything, there's people with money. Yeah. And their parents have money and they buy their, you know, they might not deserve to be in that soccer team, but the parents paid money so the son can play in the soccer team. And with skating, that doesn't exist. You can have all the money in the world, but if you can't slide down that rail or you can't ride that vert, that's it. You can't pay for that. You can't fake it, you know? So if you come and you're poor or you come and you're rich, it doesn't matter. If you can skate and you get along with everyone, you look at the guys in New York, all the FR guys that used to skate. They just used to skate the street. Whatever was there. Whatever was there, they just used to skate. If it was a wall that went like that, they used to ride it like a ramp. If it was like stairs, they used to jump them like. And I'm sure if there was more vert ramps in New York, there would have been a lot more great vert skaters coming out of New York because of their attitude, their gritty street attitude.
That's what I was going to say. The attitude of Dave Ortega, Ryan Jacklin, they were just, the attitude was very different.
Rawlinson.
Yeah, but they're the ones. They're the ones. Yeah, Joe DeDentro is the best. That guy. He's always got a smile on his face, no matter what. You know, and that's these guys. They're the ones you know. But when I was there, I saw so many others that were just as good that no one knew. Like we didn't know their name. You know.
You skate for FR, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say you were one of the few Australians that did not skate for Cosmos.
Yeah.
What happened there?
So, you know, like everyone has a family.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't want to skate for rollerblade because that felt like not my family. Roasters felt like my family. You know? Cosmo they had great wheels, probably the best manufactured wheels, but they were bits. So for my skating, spinning a lot, landing on, they were too slippery. They were too hard. All right. And I liked them and I rode them, but I was always like sliding out, and I just wanted something a little bit softer. Maybe the culture around Cosmo was not for me. Also, I'm very individual. I like to do my own thing and go, separate. So I'm friends with everyone, obviously, at Cosmo, and I know the owner of Cosmo, and we used to sell these wheels at the shop. And so
who was he?
Huh?
Who was he? Who is he, by the way? The owner of Cosmo.
So the owner of, his name's Tim Dorr. He's a very unique character. He's very into UFOs and aliens and.
Really?
Oh yeah, like he's so knowledgeable on all that. If anyone ever wants to know about that kind of thing, but he made skateboard wheels, cockroach skateboard wheels they were called. Very good skateboard wheels and all that. So when inline skating started, he started making Cosmo wheels. He worked with, Tom and the boys for the right compound, for the right pour, for the right mix, for the wheels. And I rode Cosmos until I went to New York and rode FRs, and then I never looked back.
Is it true that they started making Cosmo wheels because one of the elements that were in the compound was forbidden in Australia? Is that true?
No, in the United States, they never could produce that in the United States because one of the compounds were not allowed to be handled in the United States, only in Australia. We heard that. I don't know if it's true.
I don't know.
Never heard that too, right? Because no one could never produce that anywhere else other than Australia. So I thought.
Well, so most wheels would make two sides and bond them together. Cosmo did. It's called I forget what they call it, but it's one pour. So it pours down, and it makes one wheel.
Oh, okay.
No two wheel. There's no joint. You know what I mean? So that's why they were more. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an expert on them, but I didn't hear about that ingredient.
Yeah, we're just wondering why we couldn't produce Cosmo any other place. Why no one just like trying to copy the formula? But and then someone say, I think it was John Julio. He said that there was something with the compound, the chemical that could not be it cannot be used in USA. That's one of the things. The law wouldn't allow you to use one of the compounds, so that's why.
Yeah, maybe I'm not sure about that. But also Tim is very Tim Dorr, the owner of Cosmo. He's very I think he would rather keep it small.
Yep. Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Special.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he would let anybody mass manufacture his wheels and.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't. He should keep it as big as he can make it, because we used to have to wait for wheels all the time.
Yep.
Because there was such demand for the wheels.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
But sometimes it gets to a point when your company gets too big where you don't have full control of it, and then the quality disappears or get less, and you don't want that. So you'd rather
he has the Japanese style. The restaurants here like that. They don't accept some amount of people. Like the other day, I went down to a restaurant close to my place, and I was with my girlfriend, and I wanted to take a picture of her buying whatever she was buying. And the guy said, please no pictures and don't put on Instagram, because somebody took a picture and said this place was very good. And the other day there was like hundreds of people here, and I had to close my restaurant. Yeah. How crazy is that? He said, no, I don't want to be famous. I just want to keep just doing whatever I do every day a little bit, by otherwise it messes with the quality of the food, you say.
Exactly. How cool is that? I love that.
Yeah, right. I was all right. Sorry, I'm not going to take any pictures, man. I'm not going to put it on Instagram too.
Yeah. So no, I don't have any problems with Cosmo. I know them. Yep. Obviously, I skate with Scotty and Manuel and everybody, Renee and everybody else on the thing. But the wheels were just too slippery, like
They
too
were,
hard.
yeah. That's why
hard.
Tom was doing set slides down
Yeah.
on half pipes. I remember that, yeah. It
Yeah,
was
so
different style.
when I went to New York and met up with Nick from FR and all the boys, and I said, give me, this was just before the X Games in '95. I said, give me a wheel that I can ride around New York so I don't wear out my wheels.
Mhm.
And he gave me these wheels, and we went to a little skate park and I rode around and I was like, wow, these are soft, they were like grippy, they were really nice. I said, can you make these like in a bigger but white? Because they were black ones. He gave me prototypes. He said, yeah, no worries. And then once I started riding those, I just loved them. And then we created like the proper profile and the hardness and size, and that was like a 58 millimeter 88 hardness with a square profile. That's all I've ever ridden. Love them. And I've given them to street skaters and they love them. And I've given them to vert skaters and they didn't realize how fast they were.
So I never had them. I haven't. Yeah, but I heard good things about it.
They're good. The thing is the consistency. When you're relying on people that make your wheels, they also make other people's wheels. And sometimes they don't make the batches. If they made it when it was too hot, the batches wouldn't bond properly. And, so, but when they came out good, they were like, oh, my favorite. I love them.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Cesar, I think we're going close to 2 hours, man. And I think
I'm just getting warmed up.
Yeah. Did you realize our logo? Did you see the logo of the podcast?
Is it a diamond? No. What's the logo?
No, that's my one. It's who did it was Adriano Gomez, your friend from Brazil.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did the logo for us. He was our friend. I skated with Adriano when we were like 16, 17 years old. Yeah.
The Celtics king.
Huh?
The Celtics king.
Oh yeah, he loves it. He's going crazy. Celtics on the final in the finals now.
I said, how does this Brazilian guy love like this Irish, the Celtics team?
Yeah. I'm a Laker fan from since '92. So yeah.
So you can't be friends with him.
Oh yeah, we're friends. Yeah, okay.
No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a good talented artist.
Yeah, yep. He did the logo for us. Yeah.
He did a little guy. He did a drawing of me in '95 or '96 or something and sent it to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he told me that. So cool.
Skating. I got maybe the air where I pull back.
Yeah.
He did a drawing of it, sent it to me, and then years later he contacted me on Instagram, and he said that was me.
Yeah. Great guy, man. He's a great guy. Yeah, really good.
I think he tried to sell. I think he tried to send him one of your Impala skates, Rossi's with the yellow cuffs, but it never made it because of customs in Brazil. It's terrible.
Brazil is so dodgy, man.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Customs.
You wouldn't believe how hard it is to import stuff and how many times it gets lost within the shipment process and through customs and all of that. And there's huge taxes. Even if you're sending like a used goods, it's a gift for a friend, and then they get all over the place, and sometimes it never gets to you. That's how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's so like the lady at the post office here told me, it's Brazil's a bit sketchy sometimes. I said, it should be okay. It's a used rollerblade. Who's going to want that?
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter what it is. Sometimes you just get bad luck and it never gets to you. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
Just to think there is an Impala used by Cesar Mora.
Oh my God. I would
Brazilian
frame that.
office, man.
Imagine that.
I probably threw it away somewhere.
Don't even say that. Yeah.
I bet he would have framed that on the wall.
That was the one I used too in '96, and it was the one the blue, the yellow cuff, the blue front. I think it was a blue. I can't remember.
It was light blue frame with plastic aluminum light blue frame with a white H block, a plastic H block. Okay. That's what it was. Yellow cuffs. Those were classics. So dope.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
and it wasn't really commonplace to have different colored cuffs either. It was mostly black skates.
Yeah, but that was a mistake. Like, it wasn't intentional. to have
Really?
yellow skate. I'll do it quickly because I've done this on other podcasts. But the first X Games, they said to us, "We need some guys to do the downhill. You know, the downhill racing."
Yeah.
And me, Arlo, Brooke Howard Smith, Ivano, we all said, "Okay, we'll do it for fun. You know, we'll go downhill." And I was at the top, and I had my my Impalas at the time, I think.
Yeah.
And well, the lowriders. I had the lowriders.
Lowriders, yeah, yeah.
And I had a sticker on my bag, like that I made myself, a Rossi sticker.
Mhm.
And some guy said, "Hey, where'd you get that sticker from?" I said, "Oh, I made it myself." He goes, "Why?" I said, "I skate for Rossi's and they don't make this sticker, so I wanted to make it myself." He said, "What's your name?" And I told him my name. And no one really knew who I was, but they knew my name. Because that was only 95. That was before everything really blew up. And this was the boss of Rossi's in America.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And he said, "Oh, well, I'm Keith Detremont. Pleased to meet you." I was like, "Keith Detremont, you're the owner of Rossi's?" He said, "Yeah." "Oh, okay. You know, now I know why you're asking me the questions." He said, "What are you doing here? Like, this is the downhill." I said, "Well, they asked us to come and do the downhill." He said, "In those skates?" I said, "Yeah, that's all I got." He said, "I'll give you these." So at the time, the racing wheels with the 5 wheels, they were that boot with the yellow cuff. They were called the Mexico or something.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, so it was the same shoe as what's the
12? Majestic 12?
Before the Majestics. It was
I think
whatever
they're
that.
low rides. They all use the same mode, yeah. The bottom, the
That's the
shell,
same
right? The
boot.
shell is all the same mode, yeah.
Yeah, so it was the same boot, just with a yellow cuff, and I was like, "Oh, yellow, whatever, okay." So I used them, and then something happened to my frames, and I had to change boots. So I changed boots, and I just had the yellow boots, but I had the lowrider frames. But everyone saw that on the TV, and then it just went crazy. And every skate park I would go to, kids painted their skates yellow, and then Rosas was calling me saying, "You got to stop wearing the yellow skates." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because everyone's asking for them in the shops, and we don't make them. Like, we can't give it to them. So that's why they made them."
That's kind of cool that it was exclusive to you, and it was kind of like your trademark, because everybody knew the yellow cuffs was Cesar, and from the far you could tell it was you.
Yeah, but by mistake. It wasn't intentional. I don't think I've ever, like, my favorite color is blue or black. I would never have a yellow skate. You know, it was kind of unintentional. It became what it became, and it's funny. It's cool now, you know. So I've kept a pair for myself, but I've sent special people one skate each. You know, a signed skate. I sent Nell Martin one. I sent Nick in Melbourne, a skater. I sent him one. I sent a couple of people just one skate. So they can have some people had like a museum, or some people have like they framed it.
That's
so
a
really
great
cool.
story, yeah. That's great.
I mean, I think it's an honor for me, because that people would want like a skate that I skated with. They think it's so special. I think that's an honor to me, because always as skaters, we're just skaters, but people try to put you up on a pedestal too much sometimes, and it's a bit strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit
strange. I know the feeling.
Yeah, so it's like sometimes it's good when so if I went to Colombia, for example, and you know they make a big deal, what I liked was when me and Renee at nighttime, we would go with the locals and just skate or play soccer at night just with the locals, and then you became more human, more normal to them, and you show them you're just normal.
Yeah.
You're just normal. You just happen to be like at a certain level skating, and there's no need to be arrogant or dismissive of fans or anything like that. So I always appreciated all the love I ever got all around the world and everywhere I went. And it was beautiful. One of the most beautiful things I've ever done in my life was skating. And like I said, I went to a lot of places and met a lot of people that I wouldn't be possible if I didn't skate, you know?
Yeah, same for me.
Man, thank you so much for this. It was a pleasure. It was an honor.
My
And
pleasure. It's fun.
we appreciate
Huge
a lot.
honor, man. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. You're a great guy. No wonder why you're a legend. Everything up here is in the right place.
No legend, no legend.
Right.